Every moment in life has the potential to be phenomenal. At Amy Boyle Photography, we specialize in capturing those moments, whether it's for your business, a milestone event, or a personal portrait. As the host of the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast, I know the power of storytelling, and I bring that same passion to my photography. Let's create images that celebrate who you are and what you stand for. Visit amyboylephotography.com to schedule your session today. Welcome to the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast. I'm your host, Amy Boyle. Today, you'll meet Juliana Zavala, the visionary behind Chicago's thriving girls flag football league. She's breaking barriers and inspiring a new generation of female athletes. Join us as Juliana shares her journey, the challenges she's faced, and how she's turning the tide in a traditionally male-dominated sport. Get ready to be inspired as Juliana reveals how you can make a real impact in your community. This is the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast. Welcome to the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast, Juliana. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here, Amy.
I can't wait to dive in and cover all the things we're going to talk about today. Can you give our audience an introduction to the phenomenal you?
Thank you, Amy, for having me on. I'm really happy to be here. I have to say this is my first podcast, so I'm really excited that it's here with you, Amy. A little bit about myself, Juliana Zavala. I am the Senior Manager of Elementary Sports at Chicago Public Schools. I work in the Office of Sports Administration, and I oversee elementary sports for the district, and I also oversee girls flag football, and it's been an amazing time overseeing girls flag football. I know we'll talk about that a little bit more, but outside of sports, I also am a mom. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old that keeps me on my toes at all times. So I am active, very active right now with my kiddos. And, you know, one of the biggest things that I enjoy doing about this job is being in educational sports and being a female in a sports industry, right? That's male dominated. And my biggest passion is doing this for the right people, or the student athletes and their growth. And my goal is, I've always been a female advocate, and I'm hoping that more females and women can come out to educational sports and be a part of it. I want them to see that there's females that can make changes, add new sports, just like girls flag football here in the year 2024, and just dominate in a sports industry. Again, that's male oriented, but we have a lot of great support from a lot of females outside the industry. So again, really happy to be here with you, Amy, and kind of share some of my story and the journey.
Well, how did you get into sports and sports administration and all that? Where did that passion come from? How long's the journey been? And what lit the fire within?
You're right about that. I grew up in Little Village. My parents immigrated from Mexico, and I have there's 5 girls and 1 boy in my family, and I was the only jock in the family, the only person. And my mom just never understood, like, where did you learn and your passion about sports? Because my mom and my dad, they didn't play many sports in Mexico, but my dad is a, football enthusiast and loves sports. So I just kind of came out of it, and it was just this, something that I wanted to do, something I've always wanted to run and play sports. But my passion growing up was playing all sorts of sports, like cross country, track, soccer, you name it. I wanted to be a part of everything. But soccer was that one sport that, I kept playing. So I played soccer throughout high school and college. I also coached at the collegiate level. And then when I found out, when I was coaching at UIC with Brian Rigby. There was the first inauguration of starting a women's soccer program, Division I program there. I was looking at everything that was happening behind the scenes, what everyone was doing in the administration. And when I saw that, and I said, wow, there's other paths that can happen within sports. And then I just kind of started picking at people's brain in the office, like, okay, what was your path to become, an athletic director or in marketing, branding, whatever the case is. And, one of the biggest things for me was I always wanted to give back and serve. And that's why I looked into becoming an athletic director. And ever since then, I've loved it. I've never looked back. I love being behind the scenes and making sure that others have a great experience. And to me, it's honestly, it doesn't feel like work. I feel like it's just a part of my everyday, and I'm always having a good time meeting great people.
The fact that you said, picking the brains and kind of figuring out how does this work? Where do get into it, because until we see more people like ourselves doing it, we don't we have to create that wheel, right? And so it's so exciting when you hear that there's a passion and people are just completely driven to figure out how to be a part of it and how to change the way things are going. When it comes to that, what would you say was a good strategy for you to get that first door open? What was that experience like for you?
I've had great mentors throughout my journey here, and I've been very fortunate, to have them. And all of them have been males, all male people, mentors. And I am really happy that we have those male advocates that want to support females and want to see females thrive. And to me, my journey is starting with some of those coaches and administrators that kind of helped me through the path. And they saw how passionate I was. They saw that I love to service. And with that, it helped me create my path, something that I didn't know about. Like I mentioned before, I grew up in Little Village. My parents, my mom and dad, I think they finished the first grade in Mexico. So when they came back here to Chicago, for the first time, my parents didn't like pressure us and say, "Hey, Juliana, you got to go to college," or "Hey, you got to get a job." My parents were like, "Look, whatever you want to focus on it and do good at it, be passionate and work hard." And those are the two values that they kind of instilled in me. So it really started with my parents. And my mom is, you don't realize it, but my mom was like a networking machine. Like she always talked to everyone. And, going back to my little Julie days or Juliana days, my nickname is Julie. My mom would tell me, okay, in Spanish, she would say, Come with me, let's go get milk." Well, when I lived in Little Village, to go to the grocery to get milk was a mile away, right? And then you had to carry the milk to come back because, my dad was working. One of the reasons that I wouldn't want to go out there to get milk because she talked to everyone in each block. And, you could say the 1 hour milk trip ended up being 4 hours. And here we come. And, my mom, again, just loved to network. And I feel that part of that is something that I learned from her is just socializing, meeting people and asking questions. And that's the biggest thing that coming into any career is you got to be able to ask questions. You got to learn more and ask and why. It's okay to ask questions. And to me, I feel like that has been my career path is picking up people's brain, trying to figure out how can I become a better leader? How can I become a better administrator to make sure that other student athletes have better opportunities than I did and things that I didn't learn until, even then I'm still a student of the game and I'm still learning.
Of course, when we're little, we'd be like, can we just get there and get it done? But now this has turned into asking questions, and networking has really made a profound impact in making sure that the success, especially of the flag football league, has taken off as well. Senior manager of elementary sports. So Chicago's no small city. What is that like on the day to day, and how is the importance of what you're doing translatable for people in other big cities or even small cities?
Overseeing elementary sports at Chicago Public Schools is definitely um, you don't get to see it unless you experience it, right? So when I tell people what I do, I oversee elementary sports, they're kind of like, "Oh, you just kind of go out there and watch games." It's like, no, it's more than that. There's a lot of logistical, there's a lot of movement that has to be done behind the scenes. And Chicago Public Schools is the fourth largest school district in the US. And yes, I contact Miami, Los Angeles. We have a good relationship with Los Angeles to figure out what kind of systems and things are they doing to make sure that we kind of work together and figure out what's the best practices moving forward. So on a day to day, every day is different. And that's why I love coming into work because you come into work at 8 and sometimes I'm leaving the office at 7 o'clock at night. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're enjoying it. But behind the scenes, there is a lot of tasks that have to be done to make sure that the community is all on the same page, advocating for sportsmanship, social emotional learning, making sure that the students get the skill development that they need. It's not just going out there and just playing games. It's sports is a tool to help kids guide them, and it's their vehicle for their next chapter in life. And that's kind of the things that we look at Chicago Public Schools. We look at what's the big picture and where do we want to go and how do we want to get there.
And I would think it's even so much more important now with the more we're online and the more we're on devices. just having good programming to move our bodies, to be a part of community through and learning different things, right? Because at the elementary school level, not everyone starts off knowing what sport they're going to be good at, or right. So I'd love to hear more about how do those opportunities get introduced at a young age.
At Chicago Public Schools, we have our program that is called SCORE. Sports Can Open Roads to Excellence, and that's really what it is. So what we try to do is our programming is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and we run 9 sports throughout the city. And our program is a no cut policy, so we allow all student athletes to come out and be a part of this. And one of the beautiful things about elementary sports is giving the kids the opportunity, the confidence to say, yes, I want to play, I want to learn a sport, but then I also want to make friends and I want to be a part of something big. And we hope that that's the path to get them to high school. We don't want them to get to high school and just feel intimidated. We want them to feel that confidence that they can get and play at the next level as well. So that's a little bit of what we do at elementary. It's always the well-being of our student athletes. The social emotional is great, and the skill development, and then everything outside of what the students do outside of school is just being that impact in their life as well.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey there, Phenomenal listeners. It's Amy Boyle. If you're loving the stories and insights on the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Good Pods. Your 5-star reviews help us reach even more people and keep bringing you great content. Thank you so much for your support and being a part of our phenomenal community. Now back to the show. I know one of the main things that brought us together was the fact that we're going to talk a fair amount about girls flag football. You're one of the instrumental people in making sure that this league is successful and has grown so much in such a short amount of time. Can you tell us about that journey and what that means to you?
Starting girls flag football with the support of the Chicago Bears has been honestly something that I feel is going to be part of my legacy. You ask, okay, what is your legacy going to look like? And I've been doing a lot of things, but this one's one that I will always remember. It's kind of crazy to think about that. And we're in the year 2024 and we're adding a new sport to the IHSA. But at the same time, it was rapidly growing. Like, I can't believe how quickly it grew. When I had a conversation with Gustavo Silva from the Chicago Bears, who's in charge of their youth and community manager, in 2019, we had this conversation and we were just kind of talking about an event that we were doing. We were kind of doing blankets and serving and giving service back. And he kind of brought it up. He's like, there's a vision that's being put out in the NFL, and I want to share that vision with you. And I want to ask you if you want to be a part of this. And he was asking me the question, and I didn't even let him respond. And I just said, yes, and what he was telling me was, hey, in Florida and Atlanta, girls flag football has kicked off. It's a sport already in their governing body at high school. And he was asking, how can we do this in Illinois? And I said, let's do it. Let's go out and let's make this happen. We were able to make a relationship, which he already had with NFL flag and USA football. And we connected again several times in 2020. And once everything was a go and we had the green light to go back to some sort of normal, right? When it comes back to sports, starting girls flag football was something that has always been in our mind and how we wanted to grow it in the state of Illinois. So we said, you know what, let's start the program in 2021 with 6 to 8 schools. Let's just go ahead and pilot this program. And I sent out a survey to all the athletic directors, all the 90 plus athletic directors that we have, charter and public schools that play in the Chicago Public League. And I said, look, this is a brand new program. It's girls flag football. Whoever's interested, the first 6 to 8 people that say yes, I'm going to have a conversation with you. So I checked it and I said, I gave them like 5 days. I said, let's try this out. And it was on the 3rd, 4th day that I remember I looked at the survey. I'm like, okay, let's see where we're at. And to my surprise, we're like up in the 20s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm over here thinking I'm going to 6 to 8 schools. I'm really going to, the survey maybe is going to fill it with 2. And maybe I have to make a couple calls to some athletic directors to try to, convince them to join and be part of this program for girls flag football. But that was not the case. I called Gustavo and I said, Gus, We have a good problem and we have a bad problem. And I said, we have about 26 schools that opt in. And he's like, okay, let's do it without hesitation. He's like, let's go. So he went to his bosses and asked for additional funding to help put this program together. In 2021 of the fall season, we started and we kicked off with 21 Chicago Public League teams.
And you were just hoping for 6 to 8. That's incredible.
Yes, part of the goal, the reason why Gustavo wanted to start in the city and why we both agreed on is the city is really diverse and it's inclusive, and we can get so much going into the city. A lot of the sports, usually like lacrosse and wrestling, have started in the suburbs, and maybe it's taken them a little bit longer to kind of make it into a sanctioned sport in the IHSA. But our biggest goal for us has always been, let's start in the city and kind of grow from there. And that's what we did.
Oh, that's perfect then. Oh, it was meant to be 21 and 21.
Right. There you go. There you go. No, that was really good. It was a great feeling.
And you're much beyond that now for 2024, but we'll go into those numbers in a second. You've mentioned this partnership with the Chicago Bears and an initiative through the NFL in general. What kind of help does that do to get a sport that you're itching to get started, and now you have this extra energy and passion behind you?
Oh, it's a front seat. You get the front seat, honestly, and that's what the girls have been getting this whole time. Having the Chicago Bears behind us, their support, not only just saying, hey, let's help you put the league together. Here's money, and you can all get it started. They didn't just kind of check that box. They really helped us by making us be part of their family, making us be part of their membership as well. And that's what makes it special. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the girls have been to Hallis Hall that they go out there and they feel like it's home. They're like, oh, I already been here, but they've been a great host to a lot of things. And that's the thing, what having the Chicago Bears behind us has been their number one support. I call them our number one fans because they truly have been, and have shown it from the leadership. The McCaskey family has been great. Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren came out and talked to the girls personally and just kind of has shared their support multiple times. So again, to have someone like the Chicago Bears help support us, drive us, has been special, and the girls feel it, they know it. Just on Saturday, the Chicago Bears invited 2 CPS teams to play during the halftime show. So Taft and King High School were playing during the halftime show, and I was at the game. I'm so happy that I was able to experience and get invited. But not only did they play at halftime, the girls, there's 3 girls that had the opportunity to go out in the tunnel with the Chicago Bears. And then they also had them as one of the players as an honorary captain. So they've literally made them feel part of it and say, hey, you're a part of this. You're here for the long run. And I'm not going to lie, I got a little emotional when those girls were coming out of the tunnel, because those 3 girls from Taft that came out of the tunnel were part of the product from 2021. They came in the first time, and now they're seniors, and they've been part of the program, and they can talk about it. And I hope those girls come back. And many of the 21 teams, right? These girls that came in for first year, they're seniors this year, to just have them come back and talk about their experience and talk about what this meant to them. And the support from the Chicago Bears coming in has been huge. And I don't think we would have grown as rapidly as we did without their support and the support of a big organization like them. The Chicago Bears came in and helped us by purchasing uniforms. All the girls had uniforms. Coach Eberflus purchased uniforms from 5 teams, not just the city, but the suburbs. And it's been a really great job from their end, because they've connected us with USA Football, who has been helping us with equipment, and NFL Flag and Nike and Gatorade and Buffalo Wild Wings and so on and so forth. So the sponsorship has helped tremendously, and it's been easy for teams to come in and jump on board, because they don't have to worry about cost. All they have to worry about is coaching, and everything else was taken care of. If it was not from the Chicago Bears, it's through a partnership from the Chicago Bears and Chicago Public Schools. We're lucky. I can't say even our leadership at Chicago Public Schools, they've done a great job of, be supporting this. They've said, yes, let's do this. Let's also put, the money in to pay coaches and officials and get the sites that we need. So all around, I've been very fortunate. I feel like this was just a matter of time, a matter of time that someone could put this together. And, they say, you put things together and everyone will come. So I'm just happy to be a part of this journey.
Who are the coaches for the Flag Football League? Like, where are you finding them, and what are their backgrounds? Where are their passions? How's that all work out?
For the Chicago Public League, a lot of the coaches don't know flag football because this is their first time coming out and playing, not only coaching a sport. So a lot of our coaches that are coming in, and I'm happy to say this data here, but 65% of our coaches are actually females, and that says a lot. And one of the things that I've been advocating for when I ask, and new teams are coming into the league, I ask the athletic directors, look, I would like to see at least one of the two coaches be a female coach. Either it's a head or assistant. It's important that the girls get to see that. And, I'm so happy to say that that's what it is. I have 18 new teams, Amy, joining the league this year. It was amazing to see that I had 11 females and 4 males. When do you see that? You hardly see that, honestly. And it was just one of those proud moments that I'm here and I'm speaking to these female coaches, and there's one of the coaches that came up to me and she's like, Juliana, I literally just got assigned to be the head coach and I don't know why. My assistant coach knows more about football than I do. He actually was the football assistant coach for football. Why am I the head? And I said, because you deserve it. You deserve this spot. You deserve to be here. The girls need to see that you as a female can be the head coach. And that's what the narrative that we need to change. Females can do those head coach roles, and I'm proud to say 65% of our coaches are females. And if you see these ladies, they're just dominating. They're doing coaches clinics. I'm just so happy that we have more female coaches because it's a testament to what we're showing. It's a girls flag football sport, and we need more females to come out there. So everyone on the show listening, if you're interested in coaching, we need more female coaches. Amy, I'll share my email. Would love to see if you're interested and come out and be a part of it. And not just coaching. We need more female officials. So please come out.
We'll make sure that we link this all up with the show notes so that people realize, oh, there's a need, and you can learn along the way. Again, all these things, until we see other women doing it, we don't know that we can, right? It's just one more thing that you're like, oh, I wasn't aware. And now you're like, now I see other people doing it and I can do it as well. You think of football in general, and obviously a male dominated sport. What is it like to see these girls play flag supported by such a big entity like the NFL?
You can say it's a dream come true for many of the girls. And that's what I've been hearing from even women that come up to me and say, Juliana, I wish flag football was a sport when I was in high school, because what we're used to playing was powder puff, right? So we had the opportunity to play one game for 10 minutes, right, throughout the whole year. And you had to wait the next year to get another 10 minutes just to play powder puff. So it's truly amazing to see. And a lot of the girls that are coming out to play football are girls that are multi-sport athletes, are girls that love football, but just for some reason, they obviously couldn't play tackle because tackle is not a sport that, again, you advertise. I mean, I know my mom would have never let me play tackle, let alone, this aggressive sport. But it's one of those things that we're really excited. So also, there's a lot of girls that are coming out that have never played a sport at all. And to me, that's really what it's about, is getting girls to come out and be a part of something bigger than anything. Yes, you're right. You said, Amy, it's a male dominated sport, but now it's becoming a girls and a women's dominated sport.
Well, coming off the heels of the Summer Olympics and looking at how many medal winners were female and all these other things that are going on, when you see the rise of popularity of women in sport in general, what do you think is the biggest influence in that? And then how is that going to translate into energy for flag and for other things, that initiatives that you care about so deeply?
You're right. Having the Olympics just come off, and looking at like the data and the stats that you saw, and a lot of the ladies winning those medals, I mean, honestly, is just a testament to all the hard work that's been done in generations of females before us, because they honestly have helped pave the path for us. I feel like when I was playing sports, we didn't have it that, I'm not saying easy, right? A little bit easier, but talking about this right now and seeing how many females are getting medals, that just means that our female athletes are getting better. That means that their confidence is getting better. And it's just a testament to everything that has done before us. So I thank all the ladies before us that have been a part of this journey, because without you, we really wouldn't be where we're at now. So if no one has said thank you to you, I'm saying thank you to you now, because honestly, even myself as a leader, I think about what's been done before, and how, even swimming back in the days was something that females couldn't even do. And now the US has one of the fastest swimmers. So it's just a tribute to everything that's been done in the past. And guess what? 2028, as you know, we're going to have women's flag football and men's flag football. But I'm excited. I already told my kiddos, they're 2.5 and 1. I'm like, we're going, we're going in 2028, and we're going to witness another epic moment having flag football as part of the Olympics.
I love that energy. That excitement is translatable. When it comes to the work you have done, I mean, obviously, none of these things, people said yes very quickly, but there had to be some challenges along the way. What were a couple, and how did you overcome them, or who did you seek help from in order to make sure that you keep the eyes on the prize?
The eyes on the prize, that's exactly what we kept. I said, we're moving forward. This was a risk, honestly. Now that I look back at it, like, it was a risk to be able to try a new sport, and a female sport, and be able to be successful. I really didn't look back. I kind of, in my mind, I'm like, no, this makes sense. This has to happen. But one of the challenges that we had, and I knew I was going to have, was when you're adding a new sport, athletic directors are thinking, okay, this is going to take away from my female sports that I'm already having a hard time maintaining. By you adding another sport in the fall, this is going to take away girls from me. And two, the other problem was sites. In the city of Chicago, it's really hard to find green space or turf to be able to utilize. I knew those were going to be my two biggest challenges, but I was ready for it. And one of the things that I did was help advertise, and social media was huge. Honestly, social media was huge, letting people know what we're doing. And the athletic directors were supportive about this and welcoming, and said, hey, we're going to make this happen, because they believe in it. They know that it makes sense. What else can we do to make this happen? And as far as space, I made all the games on Saturday. So there's no games Monday through Friday. So I was able to fit in year one. I got two locations, one on the south side and one on the north side. And we had games from 9 o'clock all the way to 5 o'clock. So every hour you had teams. I had 10 schools on the south side and 11 schools on the north side. And we played double headers, and we were able to make it happen. And on top of that, on year two, Gustavo and I wanted to spread that excitement, and we wanted to go into the suburbs, and we did. And the Western suburban teams came in. And then year three, which was our last year, our goal was to become IHSA sanctioned. That's always been our goal. We wanted the girls to, put that same trophy that the boys football team does and all the other IHSA sports do. We want them to hold that trophy. So our goal was, let's get 10% of the governing body, which is the amount of schools that need to have a program, to be able to be considered and take a vote and go into the board. And that happened. So in 2023, that's what we were working on. We were working with the suburbs and the city. We all came together. And I tell everyone, we're literally a family, because we kind of have been working together. So those are some of the challenges that we faced, but just a little bit about our journey and how we kind of accumulated and started. And moving into this year, we have 150 plus teams that will be participating in the 2024 season.
I love what you said at the very beginning. Like, this has to happen against all odds, knowing that it's not going to be easy to figure out just the logistics alone, but it has to happen. So it's no surprise to me, after hearing your story, to find out that you won the 2023 NFL Game Changer Award. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
I appreciate it. They surprised me they even hid my family in the storage at Hallis Hall. So it was during the girls' state championship in 2023 that They told me to be an honorary captain. So here, I'm going to be an honorary captain. And before you know it, the Chicago Bears, honored me with the Game Changer Award. And it was truly, truly amazing to be recognized. And I'm used to be behind the scenes. I like to be behind the scenes. I don't like to take the credit. Gustavo has told me many, many times, the girls need to see you. They need to see what you do and what you've done, because you're going to motivate them, and they're going to see you. And they said, hey, if Miss Zavala did it, I can do it too. And that's the mentality that I want to see them. So I've really have been getting myself out of my comfort zone. So being here with you, Amy, is honestly, it's been a lot of work on my end, because I have been interviewed the last year, but it's been, again, I do this because I know that I can hopefully help other girls get the confidence that they need in order to get that to the next step. If it's maybe being in an Olympic team in 2028, because I guarantee you, there's going to be one girl or more than one girl on that USA national football team in 2028. So we're doing a great job. And, I would like to tell you a little bit about the post-secondary, what's offered at college here at the next level when you're ready. But it's all a lot of exciting things.
Talking about how the role of sports and education and fostering teamwork and all the things and the resilience, and then taking that now to college hopes, dreams, and goals beyond high school.
A couple things that I'm really, really proud of. So when I received the Game Changer Award, the Chicago Bears invited me to one of their staff meetings. They wanted to hear my story, right? They wanted to hear a girl from Little Village. How does she, help get girls flag football into a sanctioned sport in the IHSA? And in that story, while I was talking to their team, they invited two players that I'm really proud of. And it just kind of shows the reason why I do what I do. And one of them is Carla Rodriguez and Sadia. So Carla is actually our first athlete to be playing in the state of Illinois, a women's flag football at the college level. And Carla has been amazing. My mom, like I mentioned before, she came from Mexico, and she came from what her roots, her values, what they taught her. And females sports or doing leadership roles was not something that she was raised with. She was raised with, you got to be at home, you got to do the house chores, you got to do. She had no idea that I wanted to play at the collegiate level soccer. And here I am, and I get a scholarship to play. And I was recruited by colleges outside of Illinois and outside of Chicago. And one of the things that my mom's rules was, you're not leaving the house until you get married. And I'm like, oh, that's a tough rule, Mom, because I don't see myself getting married at any time. But again, it's kind of what she was raised with and what her parents taught her. And when I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm getting these scholarships. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yes, they're paying for my school. And she's like, how is that possible? Again, it's that education process. My mom didn't know. Luckily, I had amazing sisters that were kind of helping my mom. Like, yes, Mom, I know that we didn't play sports, but, Juliana is getting a scholarship, and I've had great teachers as well. So when I met Carla and I met her mom, and I had no idea that Carla was getting recruited for a soccer scholarship and for flag football. And I was speaking with literally myself, her mom, and Carla was just telling me, her story. And then I shared my story, and I told both of them, not knowing anything, like, look, this is what happened. My mom didn't let me go out of state. I actually had to play soccer at NIU because it was close to home. And my mom still wanted me to come home every weekend. I said, Mom, I can't come home. I have games, But then my second year, I knew that NIU was not the school that I wanted to be at. So I actually, quote unquote, rebelled. And I went to a school in Louisiana. And my mom, I mean, she was just like, that's not what we do. Those are not our family values. So in a way, she didn't understand that. But after I came back, she understood. And she, in a way, regrets it. She tells me all the time, if there's another mom, a little Mexican mom like myself, or another mom that, is stopping her daughter from doing something that she loves, please let me know, because I want to speak to that mom and let her know that I didn't know I made the mistake. So I'm sharing my story with Carla and her mom. And I want to go back to Hallis Hall when they invited me to be in front of their team because I had no idea. They surprised me that day. So I'm sharing my story with the whole team. And then all of a sudden, Sadia and Carla come out from a room. I'm like, no more surprises. Like, that's it. You hit my family, and now Carla and Sadia come in. And Carla that day explained to me and everyone in that room that that conversation that I had that day with her mom was the day that her mom told her, okay, you can go out and play at Cotty College and go to Missouri and play. And to me, honestly, like hearing that for the first time, I was like almost in tears. I was like, wow, that's again is the reason why I do what I do. And if I can just with a simple conversation or anyone here, that's hearing this conversation and hearing this podcast, there are other generation, old school, if you call it, that think differently. But, our generation is changing it. But at the same time, these values that my mom engraved in me are values that I still continue being that networker. Those are the values that help us. So just wanted to share that little story because it reminds me like, okay, this is why I do this.
Like you said at the beginning, like this will be your legacy, if not one of many. And I love the fact that it starts with like an honest share of who you are, what your journey was and continues to be. And then we don't know these things until someone shows us that influence, that ripple effect goes so far and so wide.
Right. Yes. And Amy, one of the things like being a female, I had a lot of male mentors. And when my mom tells me, oh, you have to be married in order to leave the house. And I'm like, I can't because the little females that I know that actually work in the industry are not married, and as I'm in this industry now, I see other powerful athletes and leaders, females that have kids. And I'm like, you can do both. You can be a mom and you can also be a leader. And I bring my kids out everywhere. And a lot of the times they're like, oh, you have kids? How do you have the time to do all of this and start a new sport? And I have an amazing partner, of course, that has helped me throughout this journey. And I tell the girls, like, you could do both. You just have to be able to dedicate your time and know how to balance and be able to have a great partner to help you out through this journey. But you can do both. And don't let anybody tell you that being a female in the sports industry, you can't. You can. You just got to be able to know how to balance. And the beauty about this is when I started girls flag football, both my boys were either growing up and they were part of this legacy as well. So not only was I raising my boys, I was also starting girls flag football at the same time. So starting two amazing chapters in my life has been really exciting. I've been taking them to everything because it's important that they know that their mom is doing awesome things here and that I want them to do the same and serve and be an advocate for female sports.
Well, as far as our listeners getting to learn more about flag football in our great state of Illinois, but beyond, where does somebody go to get empowered and excited and sign up and follow and everything that goes along with that?
So you can log into the IHSA School Center. There's you can see there how many schools have opted to the state series, and maybe there's a local high school around your area. We at CPS, you can log into CPS Athletics. If anyone wants to know about Chicago Public League and our games, you could go into cpsathletics.com where you can view all the schedules. Some key dates that I want everyone and all the viewers to be a part of. On October 4th, we'll be doing the Chicago Public League City Championship at Lane Stadium. That championship, we're going to have 3 great matches that day. So you can come out at 4:30, 5:30, and 6:30. And then also, if you want to be part of history, the state championship for girls flag football will be on October 19th at Willowbrook High School. More details to follow, but would love to see you out there and come out and cheer on the girls and, be part of this history.
Well, everything will be listed in the show notes. We'll make sure that people are armed with information, how to get started, where the passion came from, information about the Game Changer Award, because I know there's a really nice article about that from the Bears. And just to kind of understand, to take this even beyond what our conversation is today, is chasing your dream. And even if you have to be the first, I think we're on the precipice of maybe another first coming, a big first.
when people see that we can do these things, and then we have support and fire in our belly, there's nothing stopping us. And so I can't thank you enough for finding your passion, listening to your voice, going on those long walks with your mom, and networking the heck out of things, because look where it's going. So thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Speaking of Phenomenal. Be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and even share the podcast, as well as stay tuned for more inspiring conversations. Remember, each and every one of you is capable of extraordinary things. Until next time, take care, and remember, you are phenomenal.